don't care. Hey, it's Annika here with Sniff Dog. Are you worried about your puppy developing resource guarding issues? Or do you have a teenage puppy that's already showing some signs and symptoms? I'm here today to make sure that we can prevent resource guarding from happening in the first place and also give you some tips on how to fix it.
At Sniff Dog, we're here to teach you how to speak dog. If you can have a better understanding of your dog, you can have a relationship built off trust and fun. We want to come on this wonderful journey of pet ownership with you to help empower the love and connection between you and your pup.
Before we get started with today's video, I want to give a quick and loving shout out to Sam Mew. Thank you so much for the continued support. We see you sharing and commenting on all of our Sniff Dog content. If you want to be a featured pet in our YouTube videos, make sure that you tell us what you want to learn more about. Leave comments, like, and share our videos with all your friends. Let's get started on today's video. Aha, but wait, I always forget this. Don't forget to download the training tip sheet. Today we have a lot of content for you. This is going to be broken into 2 videos, so there's a lot to learn and a lot to remember. Also, don't forget to stay to the end because we have bloopers. Now, because this video is a 2-part series, we have 4 training tips for you. What you're gonna need for today's video and next video are going to be a slow feeder or a bowl, a bully stick, a Kong, a favorite toy of your dog's, a whole bunch of high value, really special treats, and I think that's about it. Okay, let's talk about resource guarding first. Now, resource guarding basically implies your dog is guarding something that they do not want to relinquish to you or other dogs. Those are 2 totally different types of resource guarding. Resource guarding between 2 dogs, which is called interdog or dog-to-dog resource guarding, is completely normal. We have this expectation that dogs will not guard anything against anybody or any other animal, and it's simply an unrealistic expectation. Dogs are dogs, they're animals, they have their own motivators at the end of the day, and so expecting them to be friends with everybody all the time isn't quite fair. Now, dog-to-dog resource guarding, because it's so normal, we don't usually treat it like a training issue. Usually we treat it as a management issue. So what that means is if your dog is currently a resource guarder against other dogs, meaning they growl, snap, lunge, snarl, bite, bark at, or sort of bully other dogs when they're trying to hold on to a resource like a ball, it basically means you shouldn't be playing that game or facilitating 2 dogs in a 1 resource like a ball. They're communicating that they're not comfortable sharing. And the more you put them into the circumstance to practice resource guarding, the more they're going to. So we will not be talking about dog-to-dog resource guarding today because it's a pretty normal instinctive behavior. And frankly, it's one that requires your management and not modification. Now, the other type of resource guarding, human to dog resource guarding, which is much more common and pronounced and much more of a problem, is when they're guarding you. They're guarding against you. They don't want you, the human, to come near them when they are on the couch, chewing a bully stick, on your bed, eating their meal, holding a ball in their mouth. They found a jackpot treat like a chicken bone out on a walk, and they're guarding it from you. They're doing all kinds of erratic, avoidant, aggressive, or sub-threshold aggressive behavior towards you, all in the name of keeping that item for themselves. Now again, this is also an instinctive, hardwired, normal dog behavior. It doesn't mean there's something wrong with your dog. It does mean that you might need to get the help of a fear-free, force-free dog trainer. If your dog exhibits aggression in a way that has caused you a bite, a real bite that caused blood, bruising, and it's a reoccurring issue for you, don't use this video to replace a real in-person trainer for you, okay? This is more to prevent the issue from happening in the first place. So for puppy parents, teenage dogs, a lot of teenage dogs is when we start to see the bubbling of resource guarding and a little bit of testing of what does it take to keep the bully stick
that you, my friend, have been coming to take from me
for the last 6 months. So we're gonna go through some preventative measures if you have a young puppy, and even what we suggest with puppies to do, you'll see with me with Cedar today. You can do any of that with a dog that does currently exhibit resource guarding tendencies. It just means that you might need the help of a trainer if it's a little bit more pronounced. The point of today's video is it's a lot of explanation so you understand why it's happening and how to prevent it. Sorry, a lot of talking today. We're also trying to convince your dog that when you go up to them, when they have something that they want to keep, like a Kong or a bully stick or their food, good things happen for them when they let us approach or even take items. You can imagine over time in their experience, we're constantly taking from them. Give me the ball, give me the bone, give me the chicken that you weren't supposed to take. Gimme, 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 I want it from you. And over time, they develop what's called a negative association of you coming coming towards them when they have something that they want. In today's exercises, we're trying to switch their headspace from
Oh shit, here he comes.
to
Oh my god, I love when he comes towards me when I have something because he doesn't just take, he gives me things.
Let's get started with tip number 1. Understand your dog's warning signals. Now, the concept that dogs bite without giving warning is usually sort of a very untrue statement because dogs don't inherently like conflict. They actually are professional conflict avoiders. Problem is, we continuously put them in these situations where they are in conflict. They're in conflict with their own instincts to try to guard something, and they're in conflict with us because they know it's probably not in their best interest to exhibit conflict-creating behavior like snapping at you or growling at you. So it's a double conflict for them, and it's a lot of stress for them to really hunker down and decide they are going to create conflict over this item. This can be a chronic issue with some dogs, and it is a sign that there's residual stress going on in the home or in their lives. It's not something to take lightly. It's a lot of information if your dog is resource guarding quite often. Now, the warning signs to look for, we're gonna give you some examples. Primarily, dogs will give multiple body language warning signs before they progress to the point of actually biting. One of the very first signs that your dog is in fact resource guarding or experiencing possession aggression is when they steal an item and they go and hide away from you. So oftentimes they'll pick something up and they'll go bring it into their crate or under a table where Cedar is right now. If they do that and then they turn and face you with the item, they're in the process of slight resource guarding, which is just to say,
Don't come near me, I want to keep this item, and I've put myself in a position to guard it if you choose to come forward.
so stealing and hiding is sort of the number one sign that there's a problem that might occur if you push them. The second is what we call a freeze. A freeze is very subtle, it's very powerful. Freezes are what dogs do sort of right before they commit to conflict in snapping or biting. So they might have the item under their feet, they might be under a table most often, hiding like this, and they're looking at you. They might freeze their entire body and then they go for it. So you want to make sure that you're noticing a freeze. If you see a freeze, you need to back off because your dog's giving you their last defense
I'm gonna bite you!
if you come to take this item. Another warning sign to see is what we call the whale eye. The whale eye is sort of what I just did, where they have the item or they're holding the item and they do this to you. They show you the whites of their eye with a closed, tight mouth. Often it looks more like this. You're welcome for the super weird demos. The whale eye is powerful. They're really asking you to back off. And so if you see that, you need to listen and back off, because if you push, you're likely to get a little snap or a growl. Obviously, snapping and growling are warning signs. Growling is something that I always recommend you pay attention to and you never punish. If you punish a growl or any of these warning signals, you're teaching your dog that it's not safe to tell you when they're reaching a point of discomfort, and they learn just to simply give less warnings and bite in the future when they're in conflict with you. So we never punish any of these things. We say, thank you very much for the information that we are in conflict. I will find a better way to go about taking that item from you. Although it's in your, you're allowed to try to take things from your dog, and long term, we will want to have that sort of relationship where it doesn't have to be a barter. But in the short term, if you're seeing the warning signs, you need some work to happen around the resource guarding that they're doing to prevent it from getting worse in the future. So I'll just go over a few little extra ones. Oftentimes they'll have it under themselves and they'll be wailing and freezing and hunkering and erratically grabbing and flipping their head back and forth with a tight jaw. They'll be looking at you and staring, or they'll be totally frozen in a different position, hiding the object away from you. To these things. It's your job to notice them. So a friendly reminder, we do not correct them for these behaviors. We notice them, we acknowledge them, we check ourselves, we go about taking the item in a different way, and we move on knowing better in the future. All right, this is fun stuff. Let's get to tip number 2. You are going to play the approach, treat, retreat game when your dog is eating a meal. Now this is best done out of a slow feeder or an interactive feeding toy. If you're doing it out of just a plain silver bowl, it's going to go too fast and your opportunity to practice this exercise is going to be limited. The whole point of this exercise is to make your dog think that when they're eating out of their food bowl or a food dispensing toy, when you come up to them, good things happen, not bad things. It's going to change their emotional reaction to your approach from
uh-oh, I might lose this, to I love when he comes towards me.
And so you're gonna use high value treats that are hidden. Your dog does not know you have them. When they're eating their meal, you are going to start 10 feet away from them and approach them. When they notice you or when you're about a foot away from them, say yes and then toss the high value treat that was hidden into or close to the food toy that they're eating out of or the bowl that they're eating out of. Retreat, 10 feet again. Linger for 5 to 15 seconds and then repeat that. Approach your dog, treat them for you coming near them when they're eating, retreat. At no point in this game are you touching them, touching the bowl, touching the food they're eating, or taking what they have away from them. I want them to think it's cool when you approach them. After doing this for maybe 5 times in a row, 5 days in a row, your dog's gonna love when you come up to them when they're trying to eat their meal. That's when you can start to push to maybe petting them a bit when they are eating. So you would approach, treat, pet 1, 2, and then retreat. You might progress over a few days after that towards touching the bowl, touching the food in the bowl, or placing the food in the bowl and keeping your fingers in there for a little while. Now remember, if at any point your dog is giving you those warning signals, you gotta back off. We can't let them get to the point of practicing the resource guarding because then we have to respond to it. Ooh, I shouldn't have put my hand in there. Your body was really stiff, you froze, and I didn't listen. So you don't want to move through these steps too quickly, and truly this feedback and support is really most beneficial for puppies or teenage dogs that do not currently exhibit any resource guarding issues. If your dog does exhibit resource guarding issues and you want to practice this particular exercise, I would recommend staying on that step 1 where you approach, toss the food, retreat for many sessions before ever touching them. In fact, most of us don't have to touch them when they're eating. It's sort of a rude thing to do when they're trying to consume their food, but it's a normal thing that people try to achieve long term, especially if you have a home with kids in it, because kids will touch your dog when they're eating if you're not supervising. So we do want to normalize it for young puppies if it's possible. Okay, if you're playing this game with them and they're like,
Screw the food, you got the good stuff.
And they leave the bowl and they come to hang out with you instead of eating the food, that's super normal and super common. I would just not give them any of that high value food until they start going back to their bowl again. The whole point is to make them like when we approach when they're eating their food, so don't distract them by giving treats for free when they're no longer near the food bowl. Another thing that might happen is you almost want to see their tail start to wag when they notice you approaching when they're eating their food. That's a conditioned positive emotional reaction to you coming because they know good things happen when you come towards them when they're eating their food. All right. We're gonna stop there and we're gonna move to tip number 3 and number 4 in next week's video. So make sure you watch. We're gonna make it harder for your dog and we're gonna figure out a way to make sure that resource guarding is not practiced as your puppy ages or as your teenager turns into an adult. As always, thank you so much for watching. If you have any questions or comments or things that you'd like to learn more about, please make sure that you follow us on Instagram. Follow us on YouTube, subscribe to our channel and press the notify button so you find out when we put out new videos, which is every single Thursday. As always, share with your friends on Facebook. Let us know what you want videos about. I am here for you. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you enjoyed the bloopers. Don't forget, stay tuned for next week's video where I give you more tips and download the training tip sheet from today. It's going to help you. Sniff Dog. If you want to be a featured and move on. We're gonna get with I don't know why I can't talk today. Bad hair, don't care.